Hello and welcome to Sociology of Cars Podcast, brought to you by 060 Studio in San Dimas, California. Today I'm with my friend Nate and Michael to discuss why there have been so many crashes on Angeles Crest lately and how the LA fire can impact the future of the car scene. So why don't we go for a round of introductions? Nate, what's your name? What is your social security number and all of your secrets?
Oh, identity theft right off the start. All right, let's go. No. Nate Rodriguez, how's it going? Like most people know me, Instagram. I've kind of been around for a little while. Nate, 83. I'm old, so I've been driving up there for like 20 years. Sociology of cars, I love that topic. You know, it's different. So thank you for inviting me and having me here.
What kind of car do you drive?
Corvette C6, slightly modded. A little bit. Oh, man.
Love it.
I know. I'm not wearing my New Balance, but they have to believe me. I do have a Corvette.
Wonderful. Michael, what about your routing number and account number?
Yes, routing number 422. No, I won't do it. I want to, kind of, just to give them a fake number, see if they figure it out. I'm Michael Kriskovic. Folks might know me as the Targa Chronicles on Instagram. Mr. Targa is my license plate, so if we're out and about and you see a silver 996 Targa, that's me. I have done some podcasting with my buddy Scott Kelly, the Rent Street podcast, shout out. And yeah, I'm super excited to be here, talk cars.
The reason why we're all here is because it seems like since the summer of last year, there have been at least one crash every week. And it almost become a running joke of like, oh, there you go, another crash. See how long we can go without another crash. But I also wanted to keep note that in sociology, where I came from, there is a concept called sociology, like moral panic. So moral panic describes a widespread, exaggerated reaction to an issue or a behavior that is often perceived as a threat to the societal values. For example, if there's a new crime happening in a society, like, oh, thieves have found a new way to break into your car using a certain wavelength, everybody panics. All the medias report on that. Yeah. Something that young people do. Oh my gosh, do you know that kids are flipping their cars, crashing their cars left and right in the canyons? Or if a group is a minority and it does something different from the mainstream, for example, that Friday Breakfast Club, oh, those are the troublemakers. It's the Friday group again. These groups often get targeted, and we have an exaggerated reaction. So I'm not so sure if it's like how we feel that it happens a lot, or is it actually has ramped up since the last summer?
Well, I can tell you, been driving that road for almost 20 years. Fridays used to be very quiet. Rarely you would hear of an accident. And if you did, it was one of two things, either a commuter in the morning, people going to Palmdale, they call it the Palmdale 500. Someone gets impatient, you know, tries to pass, double lane, whatever, or a motorcycle. Because Angeles Crest used to be a motorcycle kind of hangout. Now you rarely see them. Before it was hundreds of them at times. Just like Newcombs is now packed with cars on certain days, it used to be packed with motorcycles. So you didn't really hear of, you know, a sports car kind of crashing too often. But to the point where it is now, yes, it has increased, but there's a lot of factors, right? There's a lot more traffic now. There's a lot more people now. There's a younger demographic that didn't have knowledge of the road before that is there now.
I was given a ticket a few months ago.
I remember.
On the Crest?
On the Crest.
On the way down, right? Yeah.
Going 50 in a 40.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
the
thing is, if you don't have a sports car, you don't understand, right? When you're going to a sports car, there's no head-up display or anything.
Right.
So I have to really focus on the speedometer to read what speed I'm going. I was mainly focused on being safe.
Yeah.
What felt safe to me. And ironically, someone actually flashed at me. So I knew there was a cop.
Okay.
So I was like, hey, I'm not going fast, so I don't need to be worried, right? They only catch people who are reckless. And, you know, 50 miles an hour in a sports car in my Miata, it doesn't feel like I'm going anywhere.
Yeah.
But that particular cop wanted me to go exactly 40, which I don't even think a lot of people would even do.
No.
And after he cited me for window tints, which is very unexpected, and he was like, you don't have a front license plate. I could have cited you for that, but I'm a good guy, so I'm not going to let you go. And we're going to cite you for speeding 10 over. And but that's all said and done. what he said afterwards is what struck me. He said, "Be careful, man. There's a lot of motorcycles out here." Oh, so he caught me because he was very sympathetic towards motorcyclists. I was like, when he said that, I was thinking, like, does he even know how crazy the motorcyclists can be up there? I feel like they're the danger, right?
Was it a motorcycle cop?
I was just going to ask the same question.
It's a car cop.
Car cop.
Okay.
But then it was a month later while I was talking to you, Nate, you said, 10 years ago, it used to be a motorcycle spot. I was like, oh, I get it. Because maybe that cop is a local. And he was an OG on this road, just like Nate. So he sees this road as, hey, what are all the cars doing in my spot?
Right.
I'm going to cite you all, right? So that really goes into the nuances of the politics that happens in the canyon. Who does the canyon belong to? Who has the right to do what?
Yeah. When the police are in that spot, we kind of all know the spot, right? We're kind of coming down from the crest and, the speed limit kind of pops up. Now we're on 2 lanes. To me, that's not about keeping any of us safe. That's about giving tickets out and generating income for, the local economy through enforcement. So you going 50 in a 45 or 45 or 45 in a 40, like there's not a safety concern there at all, especially when he's going to go after your tint, he's going to go after your front license plate. It's like there's clearly a need for some sort of enforcement because these accidents are happening, because people are driving beyond their limits. And I'm certainly, please quote me, I don't want more enforcement on the Angeles Crest, but if you're going to enforce for safety, right? Forget about these little infractions that are trying to generate income. I'm like personally insulted by that. Why are the police focusing on that?
Yeah, and I'll add on to that. Well, and I was talking to Jimmy too, because you called me that day after it happened. And the thing is, those are the kind of tickets that are simply to try to keep people away.
Yeah, right.
And that's where the accidents factor into it. It's the least amount of traffic I can have up here, the least incidents we'll have. And so I'm going to target the type of cars that are up here just for fun. So if you are in a sports car, that's an automatic target on your back. So he'll get you for anything, a license plate, tint, all this stuff, because he just wants you to think, I don't want to go up there again. And that makes his job easier. Now, they hide behind safety because they say the least cars that are up here, there's less accidents. But now they're kind of infringing on, you can be a safe driver. How does he know? And the thing is, it's such a tight road. They can't chase the unsafe drivers. Like, how do you find them and chase them down? So what do? You just go after whoever looks their vehicle a certain way. And that's what you experience. And that's what I told you. He's like, that cop he just doesn't want you back up there. I haven't been pulled over up there in probably like 10 years. And, the cop was checking out my car and all this. He's like, what are you doing up here? And I'm just going for a drive. He's like, I want you to turn around and go home. And he tells me, get off my mountain.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
All I did was I went down La Cañada, got on the freeway, then I went back up on the backside on Big Tehanga. I still went for my drive, but that's the attitude they have. And what's interesting, let me just add this, in terms of law enforcement, it's a free-for-all up there. You see CHP and you see sheriff, but it doesn't really belong to anybody.
Interesting.
So it's nobody wants to be up there. If you're a sheriff deputy, that's kind of a boring job. Just want to be chasing people on the stupid mountain road. CHP wants to be giving speeding tickets on the freeway. They don't want to be up there either. So whoever's on that assignment, they're going to be pissed off already. So I'm just going to give everybody tickets to keep these freaking guys out of here. Wow. And that's what you encountered that day.
And to be fair, I don't think it's even constitutional. As a resident of California, I pay taxes to use all the road here. Oh, yeah. You can't have a law enforcement agency and say, hey, let's intimidate the public who has the rightful use of a certain road to punish them so that they don't come back and use what they can rightfully use.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of gross. And furthermore, you don't pull over a guy in a Miata. You pull over a guy in a black Beamer.
You're like in a gray Corvette. You're being specific there.
I was waiting for that too. The silver Porsche. Go on.
You don't pull over any silver cars or gray cars. You pull over the black cars. And I always tell people, you drive a black BMW and you have the audacity to talk to me about morals? Good luck.
Oh, my goodness.
We're getting into it. I'm just going to be very authentic with you.
As we should be.
Michael, what do you think is the main issue?
Math, really. If it's going to be one thing, it's the number of cars, right? We're all seeing it. Like, as amazing as Good Vibes Breakfast Club is, it has, brought a ton of people to the mountain. I've made some amazing friends up there. I love the community. But the volume of cars, I think that's what we're seeing now. There's just so many cars, which means that of that group, this is no longer the focused group of people who are really, really dedicated to maintaining their cars and understanding what their car can do on the mountain. Inevitably, this now includes people who are new, who don't have as much experience, and who, are maybe willing to take more risks than the rest of us. And those are the people that could cause an accident, or they intimidate someone else, like we were talking about earlier. If you're tailgating somebody, if you're driving in a way that intimidates others, they make mistakes because they are afraid, because now they're looking at you and not looking at the road. So I feel like there's all these little nuances that combine to make an incident, but the baseline thing that has changed is the volume of cars.
If volume of cars is an issue, are you saying that maybe these car meets that happen in the mountains played a huge role in why we see more accidents? Because there have been critics who said, hey, the Road and Track article on Good Vibes has driven way more traffic than what the mountain can handle, which I think is a little bit of an exaggeration, because really, to be fair, who reads magazines nowadays? Even though it's great.
It's true, though. I mean, we've now seen people up there from outside of California. Like, I meet someone from outside of California every other time up there. And on the big weekends, near Thanksgiving, near the holidays, it's a whole bunch of folks who are traveling to drive on that road.
Wow.
There's even been F1 drivers up there lately.
I know. I was so upset I missed that morning.
Yeah, but
shout out to Danny Ricciardo.
Yeah, that was cool.
You saw him?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for him to be there. If everyone kind of just follows the rules of the road when it comes up there, like using a turnout, if there's a faster car behind you, leave your ego at home. There's enough room out there for everyone to enjoy the road at their own pace. But I think that along with the volume of people that are up there now, you got to look at the demographic of people that are going. So if you start promoting a certain day or event in today's hashtag culture, who's on there, right? On their phones looking. You're going to have a younger crowd of car enthusiasts. Along with younger enthusiasts, you're going to have a lack of experience. A lot of the higher end cars that go, the drivers might be older, but they also have a lack of experience driving, because people don't kind of want to beat up their nice exotic, right? So how many of them have driven it at the limit? Yeah. But now you're up on this mountain road. You're in your Ferrari, you're in your Porsche GT, whatever, and this $20,000 bucket Corvette or Miata or whatever is behind me. I'm not going to move over for this guy. And so you have a combination of inexperienced drivers, of drivers that have ego. Yeah. And that comes into play now. And that's not a good combination on such a technical and fast road. That road can be dangerous on a good day. So imagine now you have this mix of all kinds of drivers, all kinds of cars. So you're going to start seeing this increase of accidents. It used to be a road for driving enthusiasts or riding if you're on a motorcycle, a beautiful road to where you can open your car up, which is hard to do in SoCal. Like, where can you go open your car up nowadays? I mean, they're even taking away our racetracks. Yeah, so you go to this one road where you can do it. And before, because I would be there, meet people, hey, how's it going? And hey, this guy's here because he likes driving. Right. Doesn't matter what he's driving, he likes driving. Now it's a look at me. I have this new car, whatever it is, look at me. I want to post it. I want to take a picture. I want to hashtag it. I want to go take pictures of exotics. And now you have the wave of those drivers coming in. Yeah.
Right. So, well, first of all, Miatas are $40,000. Thank you very much.
Let's be clear
That's
here.
new, though.
It was slightly upsetting to
The
my
guy right on you, he's the one on the $20,000 Miata with the $10,000 Miata with race tires. You're like, why is this guy on me? He has 10 horsepower. What's going on?
You know how much my insurance is for the Miata? You can't believe it. So initially, I thought it was me.
Yeah.
But it turned out that everybody pays a premium for the Miatas.
Oh my gosh.
It's $4,000 every year. I'm not even joking. And guess what? When I ask on the forum, everybody pays that much. And I'll tell you why.
Wow.
Just real quick. Because a lot of the Miata guys like to track their car. And insurance companies, please do not quote me on this, but this is just a speculation. People crash their Miata on track, and then they tow the Miata to the street and said, oh, a truck just hit me.
That happens a lot.
Therefore, the insurance goes up. So sometimes when I look at my bill, I'm like, wow, with this amount of money on my Miata, I could have just bought a new Porsche, to be honest.
Yeah.
So when you see a Miata guy, you know that he's rich.
He can afford that insurance. I mean, that says something.
Right?
There you go.
I got to flex a little bit. So speaking of the volume of people who goes up the mountains, right? You also mentioned the diversity of the people in terms of skill levels.
Yeah.
I also like to go back to the moral panic point of view of like anything young people do sparks a panic. A lot of people, when they hear a crash, they immediately say, oh, it's the skinny, broccoli-haired teenagers driving their Hellcats. I'm like, you don't know that. You never see the driver walking out of the car.
Right.
To be fair, the recent crashes of the Nissan Z that went off-road, he's in his 30s, right? The Porsches that jammed into each other and the engine was on the road.
Yes, yes.
That was a middle-aged businessman.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can go on and on. It's sort of like, where did this whole broccoli-haired skinny teenager... Give me one example. It doesn't have... but people just panic. People stereotype. And I feel like it just opens up for all kinds of prejudice attacks.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, we want the next generation. I certainly do. I want youngsters who are interested in manual cars, interested in performance driving, like, the electric car thing. It's scary as a car guy. Like, I don't want the next generation to miss out on this. It's an incredible hobby. So I hear you. I think there is definitely a panic going on. But it's, I guess until we can see the data, and maybe that's the most difficult thing with the crashes. Like, we need someone who is going to start keeping track. And as weird as that sounds, but like, hey, what was the car that crashed? How old was the driver? We start looking at this in a scientific way, because I don't think anybody wants to give up the mountain. I don't want to give it up. I don't think Nate or you, Jimmy. We all love going up there. The gatherings are going to continue irregardless. So maybe there's a sort of like, if we look out for the data as a group, maybe we can come up to with some guidelines for the rest of the community. Like, hey, if you're in this bucket or this or that, here's some things to think about. Like, and maybe we all start sharing leave the ego at the base of the mountain. Like, we're all up here trying to have fun, kind of thing.
I think people panic because when you think about it, there's no real solution.
Yeah.
Like, how, you can promote, like, we were talking about this earlier, and I've talked to you about it. You can promote going to the track, doing track days to learn your car, your own driving abilities. Mm-hmm. But how do you promote that to a whole culture of up-and-coming enthusiasts?
Yeah.
Especially when you're in a culture of people that they, when I was growing up, you drove something that you thought was cool. Mm-hmm. I grew up like watching Knight Rider. I wanted an old Firebird. Like, those cars are junk nowadays, the way they drive and everything. But that was cool.
Super cool.
Now it's, I want to get into whatever a perception I want other people to have of me.
Sociology of cars.
There you go, right? So it's not about, do I think that car's cool? Sure, but I want people to think I'm successful or this and that.
Right.
And so now that pushes their decision into the car they're getting into.
Yeah.
And, that's what we're talking about is so now these kids are buying, you're just barely making a little money. You live at home. All your money's going into your new BMW or Mercedes or whatever higher end car you're trying to afford. You don't have $200 to $500 to just go do a track day whenever, or to just blow $2,000 on tires. Mm-hmm. So this, us maybe growing up, we were driving cheaper cars. It's like, okay, I can blow some tires and go buy some new ones or whatever. Now it's these higher end cars. You got insurance. Mm-hmm. You can barely afford your Miata insurance. It's more expensive. So how do you promote better driving education to the people up there?
I was actually talking to a pro driver who's actually going to come to another episode of ours.
Awesome.
He is a professional driver who drives pre-release cars on track and give feedback to the manufacturer before a car can come out. And he drives cars on the Autobahn, on the Nürburgring. And he said that in Germany, in order to get a license, you got to pay a very large fee. And they will teach you how to defensive drive. And they'll teach you the car control. But in the US, we don't have that.
Not at all.
So something this simple, honestly, a lot of this stuff can be solved by one thing, education.
Yeah.
But in our country, somehow, if you have unified education, all of a sudden that's dictatorship. You can't do that. That's not free market. You're violating my constitutional right. But it's so easy. Honestly, the majority of the public on the road right now have no idea what weight transfer really means.
That's a huge point in performance driving. You're just driving a pendulum with weight, or depending what platform you have, front or back. How are you managing that? Throttle, brake. And that's a whole nother podcast in its own of how to drive. But that's something you learn with experience, But weight transfer. And nowadays, kids are asleep in science class. How are you going to learn that?
If they're even getting a science class, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that the majority of the drivers who crashed on that road know now why they crashed? I don't even think that they knew what happened. They were just like, oh, it went off the road. Why?
That's a great question.
I don't think they do because, well, first of all, they probably got themselves in a bad situation because they don't know what they were doing.
What about now?
But there's been a few pages that I've been following. Lately, there's been this increase in online pages of canyon carving crashes, like Toge Police
the
and some
Toge
of the
Police.
other guys. And once in a while, you'll have the driver that might actually comment on their own video. Most people just kind of hide and block everybody. But they always blame something stupid. Like, oh, my brakes overheated or this and that. And especially if it's a road I've been on, I'm like, you're not even on your brakes on that section.
Yeah.
Or that doesn't even, 80% of the time, understeer. Going too fast induces understeer. They just overshoot the corner. Right. They crash, they eat it. But I don't know, man. I would like to think that they'll learn from it. Maybe some of if you do it long enough, you'll learn, what, I did this wrong or whatnot. Yeah. But one of my fears is that they don't have an idea and they just blame it on the car. Oh, those tires suck. Like, oh, I had those, whatever, Michelin's before and my car skidded. Who's saying that's the tire's fault? Yeah. So I'm afraid that they're looking to, I think this is a generation that likes to point fingers instead of taking responsibility. And I think you see that in crashes too. Oh, it was because of this, and that instead of my mistake. But I don't know.
Oh, the turbo lag.
Yeah.
I'll blame turbo lag.
On the Miata.
I think there's also something interesting, like as we're talking about this, which I think is a very California thing of my car represents something about me, or I bought this car because I want to say something about myself. And I think I want to tie it back to the youth thing. That perspective doesn't have an age group. Like California is filled with transplants. You come here because you want to be in film, you want to be in comedy, whatever. You came to California with a reason. And your car, because we all got to drive the hell out of life here, is a reflection of you. So I think like that mindset of like my car is, my personification of myself. And I bought this, whatever, GT4 RS, the first thing that pops in my head. And I don't know how to drive it that well. And I haven't had the experience. And I spent a hell of a lot of money, and I'm afraid to take it to the track and hurt it. Yeah. But it's like, where am I headed with this? I think the frustration point is a car like that, you need some education. Like, if you don't want to spend the money on a track day, go to autocross. It's a heck of a lot less. You are going to actually be closer to the limit in autocross, more often breaking the limit than you ever would at the track. You'll learn about your car. At least do something to take this weapon that you've purchased and learn how to use it.
Exactly. And I think that if I were to point one reason for the crashes, I think BMW is the brand to blame. And then let me
Interesting.
And then let me explain.
Yeah, explain.
I just
Because
ordered
yeah.
I just ordered a fully loaded BMW 230i, so I cannot be prejudiced against BMW if I'm also a BMW owner.
Right.
Here's my reasoning. So in America, we have a car culture. A lot of the boys growing up, they wanted a nice car, right?
Yes.
So regular guys, they're going to get a Civic, an 86, just regular sports cars. What are the rich kids' parents going to get them? M3, right? Some sort of performance version of the Germans. They're not going to get a Mercedes. They're likely going to get an M3. But guess what? The German cars are tuned for the Autobahn. They're tuned for the Nürburgring. One of my favorite and the most respected engineer, Dave Coleman, over at Mazda, he's the lead engineer. So Mr. Dave Coleman, a lot of people ask him, like, why didn't you tune the Miata to be more track capable? Why didn't you give the Miata more power? That's always the question. Didn't you see that Porsche and BMW set a certain record on the Nürburgring? And Mr. Coleman always says, but we're not going to the Nürburgring. You're going to work and you're going to the canyons. And 180 horsepower is totally enough for whatever that you're doing on the street. If that's not enough, you're probably going too fast. Right? So people always forget that. So that being said, the BMW's main focus is stability when going high speed. It's like a highway missile. But those kind of cars on a canyon road, it's just not suitable. It's not a great learning tool. A Miata, for an experienced driver, is very rewarding. For an inexperienced driver, because of the body roll, you feel all the motions. It's a great learning tool. It's a great teaching tool. In the BMW, you just turn until you cannot. It gives you a false sense of security. But guess what? When these German cars crash or given a speeding ticket, the cops and the public is going to see all the car guys as the same. They lump everything into the same category. So next time when a Civic SI, a guy who's not going to be reckless because the car is so engaging by comparison, he's not going to go fast, but he gets pulled over for something that the BMW did. Right. So that's social justice to me. That's unjust. And then when you think about, so my friend Melissa over at Good Vibes, she lent me her Porsche Macan. That was a loaner. So I drove it for the first time. Everybody said that was the best driving CUV. And I was driving and I looked down and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like 3 miles an hour short of my Miata. How am I going this fast in a base Macan? Right.
It's crazy.
And I braked because I knew that was the braking zone. I turned because I knew that was what I'm supposed to do. But solely from the chassis feedback, I didn't feel that much. And to be honest, even though it was an all-wheel drive car, I didn't really feel the front wheel kicking in because it was so seamless. It was so perfect. And then later on, when I talk to other people, they're like, yeah, because the Macan doesn't involve you. It just kind of helps you. A Macan is better than BMW. BMW doesn't even involve you at all, right? So I was thinking in my head that whole time, I was like, wow, I turned in that Macan so fast, and when I checked the tires were just obliterated, right? And I was like, someone who's inexperienced getting to that Macan, they would probably think I can go 10 miles an hour more until they flew off the cliff. That is very alarming to me.
Today's cars are so capable. They hide their power, their size so well that it gives you this false sense of driving ability. And you forget that the one in control is still behind the wheel, right? But you have, modern tires are awesome. Today's ABS systems, traction control systems, e-diffs, the car is doing all the thinking for you. And so you think, oh man, I'm this great driver. And on top of that, you've watched all these YouTube videos about how it's an awesome car and how capable it is and how fast it is, that you think, I'm going to get in this car and it's so expensive, high end and all that. I'm just going to be the fastest guy up there. And then you realize physics is undefeated because that new BMW is still almost 5,000 pounds. I think that what the M6 is something
M5.
crazy. The M5, you know, and even the smaller ones are, 3,500, 4,000 pounds. That's still a 2-ton missile, like you said, on a tight canyon road that you don't really see in Germany, like where these cars are like really tuned for. They're on this knife edge, like we were talking about, of the car's ability, that the thing is you go over it and it's not on the racetrack where you go over and there's dirt or whatever. There's the side of a cliff or a mountain. And so all it takes is a little split second to go over that car's abilities, And that's why you see a lot of these accidents. And the thing is, that guy might have driven that road 100 times and been fast and felt he was fast and blew by you and your Miata and thought, oh, I'm a fast driver, you know?
Not possible.
Not possible. I just wanted to throw a shot at you.
I think that BMW, like you said, of all those factors, right?
Yeah.
BMW and all the manufacturers have a civic duty to make their cars more engaging. Otherwise, people crash. Thank you very much. And I think that there's another point that I would like to bring up really fast. I think that the social media space has evolved. In the past, Doug DeMuro was the first person who started reviewing cars, right? It was all about the walk around, the coolness of the exterior, the interior niceties. But now, if you look at the social media space, especially on YouTube, it transformed from that to $200 sway bar versus $3,000 sway bar. Which one works better? It started to turn more performance oriented.
Yeah.
But a lot of donor media guys, a lot of the people who are making those videos, they do have driving experience. So when they talk about driving, when they talk about performance upgrades, they don't say, hey, don't do this because we have the track experience and you don't, right? All the people who are going to watch that content is going to think, oh yeah, I should be doing more driving. And then when they try, what happens?
Yeah.
Some of those guys were up there not long ago. You would think some of those guys are knowledgeable, but I've been wrenching on cars for a long time, and sometimes I watch those shows and I'm like, oh my God, I'm just gonna go watch something else because, But that's the thing too, that there's a lot of personalities on social media, on YouTube, that don't have the knowledge. What they have is a nice camera and editing skills. And somebody younger watching this, it looks like a cool video where it's, pretzel media, whatever pastry you want to choose. And, they must know what they're talking about. And you know what? A lot of times they don't. Like one of my favorite channels, I don't know if you guys have seen it, it's Stanceworks, I think it's called. He's like building an F40 right now.
Oh,
and
yes.
He has like the K20 swapped older Ferrari.
Yeah.
That guy's fabrication. He's into technical stuff. Like you can learn something. That's more engaging to me that have been around for a while, but it's boring to a lot of younger people because I don't want to sit there for an hour and this guy's welding or talking about shocks. But that knowledge is just what keeps you alive.
Yeah.
When you're driving up there.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
it's a difficult thing I think also to get people interested in because it's like get your hands dirty, or maybe your car isn't drivable for a period of time while you do this project or you do this fix that's slightly beyond your ability. And I think for folks that can't afford it, just take my car somewhere else, let somebody else fix it. And that's fine. But you definitely learn something about your vehicle every time you have to disassemble it and reassemble it. And you learn about my decision on this torque wrench for how tight I make this rotor as I reassemble it. Yeah. Materially makes a difference when I drive. And I think those little bits of knowledge, they're there in the back of your mind. And if you don't have any of that and your car doesn't have the engagement, that's kind of a recipe for, okay, you can go fast and the car's amazing and it's amazing. And then suddenly it's not. And you're in the side of the hill and, you bang into somebody else and hopefully you don't hurt anybody or yourself. But damn, how do we fix that? Do we change the law so that to get a license or to buy this car, you need to take this course? That'd be cool.
That's what they do in Europe.
It's so interesting that car community is very unique. Because we're in the car community, we know that 90%, I would even say 90% of the car guys are not true drivers, which is really funny. You cannot say that about anything else. If you say you're a surfer, you're not going to be at the beach admiring your surfboard and not surf, right? And skateboarder, the same thing. Basketball, the same thing. But in cars, a lot of people go to Cars and Coffee. They know all the generations of the Porsche, but they don't drive. They never track it. They're not good drivers, but they know everything about every model. Isn't that just interesting?
Yeah. It's a multifaceted community where you can be a spectator and be just as involved in the community as somebody who's actually an engaged, a driver, part of the community. Yeah. Where, like you said, in surfing and other physical sports, it's very much like if you can't do it, why would you even be in the water or on the mountain snowboarding?
When you're in the 10% that you're talking about, I think everyone's on the same page as me, but you might be right because you go to some big car meet where there's hundreds of cars and it might be just 10% of people that understand the dynamics of driving.
And it's kind of probably you surround yourself with people like you. So if you like to wrench, you're going to go talk to the other guys who like to wrench because, you want to talk about this thing and this guy gets you. And you almost like self-segregate yourself in that way, even though you might talk to people who aren't at that technical skill set. But
now, like, just to shine a little positive light, though, on the subject, I do think that there's a growing community of younger drivers that are getting more into track days. It might be more of those that don't have the money for the brand new European car. You get, because that's how we started off, or I started off. You get something cheaper you can afford, and then you go thrash it on the track, and you have your fun up there. So I have been seeing, because I follow a few like organizations that do track days, and they're getting sold out. But at the same time, we live in, as beautiful as the state is, they're taking away all our tracks. Fontana's closed, that's gone. Now you have to go to, the nearest one is Willow Springs, which is over there by Lancaster. And you got to go farther out to Buttonwillow and Chuckwalla, which is 2.5-3 hours away. Yeah. So if you live in SoCal, like that's all you got.
Yeah.
So it's, even though we have a growing community of young people that want to go on the racetrack and learn, they're having less and less places and opportunities to do that in.
When we come back, we'll explore more about how the recent LA fire has taken even more road from car enthusiasts and how that would impact the car community going forward. This is Jimmy Xie. You're listening to Sociology of Cars Podcast. Hey, do you know that 0 to 60 Studios not only supports creatives like myself, but they also offer a whole range of services. They have a state-of-the-art sim racing facility with a lounge. They also offer full PPF, color wrapping, tinting, dashboard camera installation, and all kinds of mechanical work. For more details, please head to 0 to 60 on Instagram. So the recent LA fire has been just nothing but tragic.
Yeah.
Never in my dream have I ever thought that a whole town would be wiped off the map like that.
Yeah. Towns.
Yeah, towns.
Plural, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was thinking the other day too that Malibu has so much memory for me. Just going there when I was still in college, going there on a date, going there to grab food. But when my kids are born in the future, I can show none of the spot to them because they won't be the same. It's a totally different town. Yeah. I can't believe it. And I feel like I want to get you guys' opinions because I feel like, people always say, oh, take it to a track. Laguna Seca was almost tear down because somebody complained. That whole drama, right? And Willow Springs was for sale because it was very hard to maintain a track.
Yeah. Is it not still for sale?
I think it was.
I think it is, though.
Okay.
Or was it?
Maybe we should investigate.
We got some homework.
Follow-up questions.
Okay. Right. So as an enthusiast, whether or not you know how to drive, there are very few spots that you can go to. People always say, like, oh, bring it to the track. Sure, you pay for it. Right? And you take me 2.5 hours to Willow Springs. There's not a lot of spots. And now with the fire, there are even fewer spots. You can't go to Malibu right now. You can't go to Angeles Crest. So where can people take it out? Right? A lot of people do street takeovers, which I do not know the rationale behind it, but I suppose that maybe because they don't have any other options, and that's the only way that they see how. But what do you think? What do you think about that, Nate?
Yeah, first of all, my heart always goes out to all the people affected by it. I've known a few, like in the Altadena area, that were affected by it, and a few family of friends that did lose their homes. Yeah, it's really sad, and especially Santa Monica to me, because being born and raised in LA, that's been one of like my go-to spots with my family. Years ago, when my kid was little, when Trump first got elected president, there was a guy that would play the guitar and would wear a mask of Trump, and so my little kid called it Trump Beach. So he's like, I'm going to go to Trump Beach, and that was the pier in Santa Monica. So there's a lot of memories there, like dating my wife. That's where we would go. Paradise Cove was like one of our spots, and going all the way to Neptune's Net. And I've never been a big fan of canyon carving too much because it is a very high traffic area and the residential, but the roads are awesome and they're beautiful. And there's some that are very technical and tight and very engaging as a driver, even if you're not, going super fast. They're very fun roads.
Yeah.
And it's just such a beautiful place. And you see the beach and you see, even if you don't live there, you see these beautiful homes. And I don't know, maybe they motivate you to move there one day or I don't know, you just drive there and you're like, man, you know what, I can do better. I want something like this too, And it's just a nice place overall. So it's I can't even imagine driving down Pacific Coast Highway right now and everything's gone. Like Moon Shadows doesn't even exist. Like that's nuts to me that's gone. So it's very sad to see that, especially because Malibu, that area and the Santa Monica Mountain roads had already been affected by fires. Like the Snake had been closed forever.
Yeah, for years.
All of that had been burned down. I'm happy Angeles Crest wasn't directly affected by the fire. I've been on that road a few times lately, and even though the forest is closed, the road's in great shape. Shout out to Caltrans because they've done a great job keeping it clean. And now it's scary with, like, I don't know how hard it's going to rain, but now it's like, now you're going to have mudslides and landslides because there's no vegetation because it burned down.
I'm shocked but glad that Angeles Crest is okay.
Yeah.
Right? Because Angeles Crest actually never fully opened up last year. So let's hope that we don't damage all the progress so far and close down even more sections.
Yeah.
And I would like to note that in sociology, we say when you take the options away from people, shit is about to go down.
Yeah.
Right? When you say don't go to the gym, where do people go punch stuff? Where do people gonna like push stuff? Right.
Right.
Look at people's reactions during COVID.
Yeah.
Driving for a lot of people, it's like a therapy. When you take that therapy away and you say, hey, the tracks are closing down, Irvindale Raceway was closing down.
Yeah.
You can't drive the canyons. I mean, people are going to have to take it out somehow.
They're going to take it to the freeways. That's all that's going to be left.
You're going to introduce a new problem. And what is that? Right? That's the moral panic here that I'm thinking.
Yeah. I hear you. I wanted to say one thing because, first of all, I totally echo what you were saying, Nate. Like, it's super sad. Everything that we're seeing in LA, all the loss and people losing their homes.
Yeah.
I know people who've lost homes. I can't even wrap my head around that. And I think the thing about the Palisades, Malibu, even Altadena, like these are some of the most beautiful parts of LA. Like I moved here because it's beautiful and I love those roads and I love going on PCH. And that's what it was for. It's interesting to hear in Angelino's perspective because it's the same for you, right? It's a place of, I take my family there because it was right around New Year's and the holidays. We have all these days together, me and my wife, and we hiked in Will Rogers with our dog. We went to Moon Shadows with a friend who was visiting from out of town. We drove along PCH. I pointed out for one of the first times, like, oh, that's the real inn, because my wife doesn't come out on these drives. And it was a week later, and it's all gone. And it's so hard to wrap my head around. And I feel the same way. I haven't gone back yet. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle it. Like, this is like my history. I love LA. I still love LA. It's a loss for everyone. Even if the people you didn't lose your home, the whole city feels that pain.
And I like that you said driving is like therapy for a lot of people. I have a lot of posts where I call it my therapy session. Mm-hmm. Like I lost my dad almost 2.5 years ago. And during that time when he was sick and everything, that's where I would go for a drive just to clear my head for a bit. And a lot of people are dealing with all kinds of things. And that's what being a car guy is that's why we love this hobby. I'll get in my car for a bit and I'll go for a drive, and that's how I de-stress. Yeah. So in a society where people are already so wound up with so many issues, you keep taking away their outlets for frustration.
Yeah.
So that's just never going to end up good.
I completely agree. And there are members of the Good Vibes community who have lost their homes, lost their cars. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I think that we as a community, we cannot always use the word community as like a marketing tool. We got to do something about it.
Yeah.
I think that going forward, let's figure out a way. As far as I know, us talking about this on a podcast, I haven't seen a lot of podcasts out there that is actually talking about the current events like this.
Yeah.
There should be more actions.
Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes it's sad, but we live in a society where people are kind of just focused on what affects them directly and not what affects everyone else. And sometimes you even hear comments of like, oh, those people up there are rich. They'll be okay or whatever. And it's like, no, like they worked hard.
Right.
You know, I don't look down on people because I wish I had their funds and can give my kids a house there, whatever it is, you know,
Right.
like, so I'm not going to hate on them or think, oh, they'll be okay. You know, plus just because you have an expensive home doesn't mean you have you can liquidate that. Doesn't mean you just have $1 million in the bank. A lot of people worked hard to be there. Sometimes generations.
Yeah.
So it's sad for me because as a dad, you know, I can't imagine if I lost everything without a way to take care of my family again. So yeah, my heart goes out to everyone out there and affected by it. And that's why on my SoCal Canyon Carvers page, I said, you know what, let's keep posting stuff, keep going for a drive, keep going to that car meet, because don't be scared like, oh, you know, this is going on, I should like not say nothing. Like, no, this is the time where you need to embrace each other. Mm-hmm. People want to see something positive. You know, it's the fires were on the news every day, 24/7. Yeah. Let me see something positive. You know, go for a drive, enjoy life, because just like some people right now learn how quickly their life can turn around, the same thing can happen to you and I.
And you know what would be a super helpful thing for dealers to do though? If dealers, Porsche dealers who are listening, if you truly care about people, 50% off. someone lost their Porsche in the fire. You're going to sell them a Porsche at MSRP? How dare you?
At GT3 next week if that's the case.
How dare you?
Or even just take off the additional, you know, dealer markup. Wouldn't that be just a nice little thing you could do?
Markup is the most evil.
It is I cannot understand why anyone would pay the cost of another car to get a car.
You know, so
just to say they did.
Exactly.
Speaking of the markup and the dealer saga, okay, so here's my quick hot take. I think that Porsches without sports chrono package is like boob with no nipples. It's just super weird, and you see this all the time. You see Boxsters, Caymans spec'd out to the fucking max. It has everything but the sports chrono package. I'm like, wow. How dare you? How dare you? No wonder why the price is so good.
You said boobs with no nipples. Oh, wow.
It's like from far away, it's like, yeah, that's everything I wanted. And while you walk close, it's like, what is that?
That one touch point is missing. Why?
It's like those cable movies at night when they get a little spicy, but they gotta like blur stuff out. It's like some soft porn movie, right? Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh man! So you need that chrono package.
That's right.
Now I know.
Give me my chrono package. Give me 50% off, and then now we're talking about community.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't want to hear about it. But you know what's so crazy about the fire is that California has always had fire, rain, earthquake, and yada yada.
Yeah.
A few years ago, it happened to the city of Paradise and some of the other towns where the whole town was wiped off.
Yeah.
Of course, our hearts also go to the people affected by that. But to be honest, a lot of the towns I've never even heard of, right? Never in a million years did I think that Malibu,
right,
Altadena, Palisades, like these are world-renowned cities. Boom, gone, ashes. Yeah. What?
How? Like, I think in my mind, I can't get over the how. Like, how? How did that happen so quickly? Are we that much of a tinderbox that just the wrong moment? The winds were astronomical, but it seems insane to me that it can happen, just like that.
The pandemic happened because we were not paying attention. Bill Gates, years ago on a TED Talk, he was raising the alarm for a global pandemic. Nobody paid attention until now it happened, right? The fire is like, fire zone, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't have insurance because they're not writing insurance policies. It's okay. It's probably not going to happen to us. It's always like this.
Yeah.
It's almost infuriating. And, when I first heard about the fire going, to Altadena, that direction, I was like, oh, no, I hope it doesn't go all the way to Newcombs. Because that would be a tragic loss to the car community.
Yeah.
So the fire went all the way up to the observatory. as soon as the road opened, I drove it that day. I just wanted to go, just took it easy, just wanted to see. So I was super happy to know Angeles Crest itself is okay. I don't know how Mount Wilson is yet, but we were really close to having like just about no mountain roads open to us, because even the Sousa here, they closed it as a precaution.
Yeah.
I think the only thing open is Mount Baldy. We were really close to losing all of our fun roads.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the first day that Angeles Crest opens up, the number of people edged for so long?
Yeah.
We got to be careful.
I will probably stay away.
Same.
On a Friday, I'll probably stay away. Our first responders in that section do not need right now to be responding to accidents. That's the last thing that they need. That's kind of why they extended it into the end of the month. Mm-hmm. The forest itself is closed, even if the road's open to commuters.
We're all men with testosterone, right? So let's tap in a little bit, because it's easy to say, oh, don't do this, don't do that. But what's the reason why people do something, right? We all know that drinking alcohol is not good for you, but we still drink it.
Yeah.
I still know sugar is not okay, but I still have a donut once in a while.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But why do we do the things that we do? I think that, when you go on a group drive, there is a little bit of that competition. If your car is significantly slower than the other ones, you want to catch up.
Yeah.
Because no adult male would want to be left behind, right? And there's also an ego issue where, when I drove my CX-50 on the Canyon for, it was like the third time, this Porsche Turbo S refuses to pull up to turnout. So I literally, that day, I was so stubborn that I stayed in the garage. Now my car is completely just like sandblasted. Like everywhere it's like rock chips. Yeah. I do not know why that he just felt like, oh, because it's a Porsche, therefore I cannot pull over for Mazda.
Yeah.
Right, that whole thing. But that's a good segue to...
Porsche, guys.
That's a good segue to a little story. Nate, would you mind telling people how we met?
Yeah, so it was a Friday too, right? So it's just my usual Friday drive, and I'm going up Angeles Crest, and I think I had encountered some traffic in front, so I had to slow down a little bit, and eventually they used the turnout to let me by. But when I look in my rear view, I see this Miata coming up on me, which like he's on it, and I knew immediately. I'm like, I know how those Miata guys are. They want to show everybody, I might not have the power, but I'm going to stick with you on the corners. And so when I see a Miata, and I know they're driving the hell out of it, I tell myself, okay, I'm going to remind them that power's still a factor. So I see it turned out to be Jimmy, but he comes right up on me, and I'm like, all right, Jimmy, goodbye. So I start driving, and I don't know, after a couple corners, I disappeared a bit. So I'm like, okay, I got rid of that pesky Miata. And so I get to Newcombs, and then you came up, right? You're like, hey, I was in the Miata or whatever. And I was like, oh, that was you? I know how you guys are. I had to get away from you, man. I can't let you stay on me. So, my ego kicked in. I was like, I can't let this guy in a white Miata stay around on my butt. So, and Jimmy was cool, though, because he's like, you know what? You proved me right. Because you're like, when I see a fast car, I try to stay on them in my Miata. And I was like, no, you guys are all the same. And he's like, yeah, but then I saw your car disappear. And I'm like, okay, that guy can drive. And I'm like, okay, thank you, Jimmy.
I have to say, okay, my experience is like this. In the car community, when you see certain cars, you picture the drivers, right? Mm-hmm. Corvette and Porsches, it can go two extremes. So when you see like a brand new Turbo S, all shiny, that guy doesn't drive. When you see a base 911, 997, oh, don't mess with that guy. That guy probably has dead bod, middle age with glasses. He is scary AF. Okay, I know a few people like that profile.
Stop talking bad about my dad bod, dude. I'm a dad. I earned it.
So when I ran into Nate that day in the Corvette, I was thinking okay, if I just see a regular Corvette that's yellow, no modifications, it's probably, your stereotypical dad, right? Yeah. But that is a track-prepped Corvette. That's not ordinary Corvette. But I was like, let me just see how fast he can actually go. I juiced the shit out of my Miata, right? I drive the wheel out of that thing. 2 corners in, I was like, why am I not moving? Why is the throttle not working? Literally, I was like, why is my car stationary? Because he walked away. I was like, and then, it's kind of like one of those times in boxing where someone throws you a punch. Immediately you knew, oh wow, that guy is strong, because that punch was very heavy.
Right.
And that's how I felt the first corner. I was like, oh wow, okay, that's fast. Yeah. And when he drove away, I did not even go chase, because I'm thinking like, bye bye, have a good day. I don't think that's for me.
No replacement for displacement.
And you know what? That's rare for me to say, because I'm a good driver. Not many times where I'd be like, you know what, that guy is definitely like twice as fast. Bye bye. I don't say that a lot, but Nate was one of them. And when I saw him in person, one of my first thoughts is, wow, this guy is actually nice.
I've heard that. I've heard that a lot before. I'm like, am I supposed to be like a butthole to people just because if I'm quicker than them or something? But no, I'm like very approachable, and I just feel bad because I'm usually horrible with names and faces. Yeah, you're not the first person to tell me that. Like, am I supposed to be mean? Or maybe because they see that I'm taller, they're like, oh, this guy's maybe I have an RBF. I don't know what it is. It's like, but sometimes when I'm driving, I'm concentrating, so I look all mad. But
we probably all do.
You turned out to be cool, so it was all right.
Well, I mean, all Miatas guys are pretty cool, right? So how do we move forward from here? I mean, knowing all the safety stuff that we discussed, why there have been crashes, we came up with our own theories, and how the recent fires can impact enthusiasts going forward. What do you want to see happening, Michael, from here on?
I think the thing I want to see happening is more conversations in the community. Let's be open about this. Let's be talking about this. I feel like there shouldn't be a stigma around having the conversation like, you might be driving a little bit over your limits. Hey, don't pass on the double yellows. Don't endanger people up here. Be respectful, right? The forest is, it's a very endangered resource in LA. So when we're there and we're on the side of the road, like hanging out, like, don't leave your trash. Like, I feel like if we're talking about it all the time and we're having the conversation, then it won't be something that we talk about on Instagram and like, kind of get into the comment threads. It's something we talk about face to face, and like, let's approach this head on. I don't want it to be a comment thread. I want it to be something that we all admit it's going to affect us. If these accidents keep happening, I cannot imagine that something doesn't change about that road, whether it's the enforcement or they close it on us.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes back to the whole communal thing, right?
Yeah.
People always say, oh, we're a community, respect the crest, hashtag. Yeah. What is that going to do? You're not even going to have the conversation. Mm-hmm. Anytime that you see there's a crash, it's like, oh my gosh, it's such a terrible thing. Who is it? Right? And then that's the extent of it. Respect the crest, hashtag. Okay, but like what else? Right. Are we ever going to have the conversation? Are we ever going to have the conversation at the place where we meet up? Right? And you know what? Sometimes if you're tailing a guy and that guy refuses to use the turnout, I don't think a lot of people want to ruin their happy Friday to go talk to them and be like, why didn't you pull over? Yeah. I've had the urge of doing that, but I restrain myself.
Yeah.
I've had the conversation a couple of times, and I did it for that exact reason of feeling like I don't want to ruin my good mood, but I feel like maybe no one ever said this to this person. And it was someone that wasn't normally in our group. They met us down at the Panera, said, can I drive up with you? No problem. And the person tried to pass a motorcyclist on the double yellow around a blind curve. Mm-hmm. And like, I cannot sit idly by. Yeah. And when we stopped, I went up and I really took a lot of deep breaths. I tried to keep everything calm, right? Because I don't want to come up on this person in a heat. So I just said, hey, I don't know if you know, but that's a really dangerous thing that you did. And you could have not only killed the motorcyclist, but, you could have killed somebody on the oncoming lane of traffic. Yeah. So I don't think I got through, but I was able to be like, I said my piece. And then it was still a good morning.
I think those people on social media, if you're pushing a certain hashtag, you know what I'm talking about, right? If you're pushing a certain event, whether you unofficially say it's not an event or whatever it is, it's just people that get together in one place on a certain day, however you want to say it, I think we need to take a little responsibility if we know people are watching our content to remind folks of just being more careful, more mindful, sharing a bit more. You're never going to get to it in everybody. There's always going to be boneheads up there. Like there's no way around that. But, you know, at least take more of an initiative to remind individuals of certain safe practices, like using turnouts, just letting people by, leaving your ego at home, things like that. Before too, like I've always now everything's caught on video. And so even bad drivers, because everyone's driving with their cameras on and all this stuff. And before I used to be like, man, if I caught somebody doing something stupid, whatever, like I just let it go. Now I've seen more public shaming, but I'm like, you know what? Maybe when you show examples of what not to do, people might be like, you know what? I don't want to be that guy featured on Togue Police or on Canyon Carvers looking like a moron. Maybe I shouldn't be double laning. This isn't a racetrack. Yeah. You know, I mean, by the way, that kind of defies the reason that you're going around corners. Like if you're just cutting across in a straight line, it's, you know, I hear people talk about apex. There's no apex. There's a lane. Stick to it, you know? Yes. So I think one thing we can do, some of us who do have maybe an Instagram page or if you have a podcast or something, and you know these are the people listening to it, is just keep pushing the message and hope that some will listen to it and be like, you know what, they're right. And there's waves that you see in society, right, where something's cool and then it's so cool that it's not cool. So maybe once it was like driving all stupid and fast and look at my car is cool, and maybe if enough of us say like, no, you're being an idiot, it won't be cool anymore. And now the cool thing would be is to be safe and just, you know, enjoy the road and share it with others.
So what I'm hearing you say is, as influencers, as people who have a platform, we also have the responsibilities of clarifying and to announce, you know, these safety protocols so that people can understand, because we have a lot of reach. Thankfully, Sociology of Cars has gotten 1.2 million plus views every single month for the last half a year. I think that through the platform, we can really educate people on that. Nate, you also have your Canyon page. Michael, you also organize a lot of events in the past. I think that starting from us, leading by example, is one of the most important things. With that said, thank you so much for coming on the show, Nate and Michael.
It was fun.
Yeah,
man.
what
Thank
a pleasure.
You. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Well, Nate and Michael are both leaders of the car community. You'll catch Nate in a dark gray C6 track-prepped Corvette, and you also catch Michael in a silver 996 Targa. You're listening to Sociology of Cars podcast, produced by Sociology of Everything, supported by 0 to 60 Studios in San Dimas, California. This is your host, Jimmy XIE. See you next time.